very short question, so just over here. Yes.
So as society moves away from like Christian values, as you said, and you like the views of Nietzsche, for example, who says that that will be replaced by ideologies, so totalitarian ideologies.
And hopelessness, don't forget hopelessness.
Yeah. So now that the West has been through those totalitarian ideologies, what happens next, do you think? What's the most likely outcome? Because do we stick with another ideology? And if so, what ideology will that be?
No, I don't think so. I think it's back to the past for resurrection, so to speak.
To Christianity?
Yeah, well, who knows exactly, but, you know, Jung was a very astute critic of Nietzsche, and there aren't very many because Nietzsche was very, very smart, and so you criticize him at your peril. But Nietzsche believed that one potential move forward would be that we could create our own values. But the psychoanalysts, and I would say the biologically oriented psychologists in large part, philosophers as well, have pretty much eradicated that as a possibility because you can't create your own values. I mean, go try. You can do it as an exercise tomorrow morning. It's like you're going to sit down, blank slate that you are, free choice creature that you are, and you're going to create your own values. It's like, well, you're going to lose 30 pounds. Maybe that's the first thing. And you're going to reshape your physique by going to the gym 3 times a week. And you're going to start eating properly and no more of that alcoholic binging or pot smoking. That's out. And you're not going to play any more video games. And you're not going to waste any more time. And you're creating those values and you lay them out and then bang, from then on in, that's all you do is you obey yourself 100% because you've told yourself to do it. It's like, does that sound like life? Does that ever happen to anyone in the history of the human race? It's like, no, you can't enforce, you're not your own slave, you're not your own puppet. And maybe it would be easier if you were, although you might tell yourself something stupid and go do it, which wouldn't be such a good thing. So you have to contend with your own soul. And that has a structure, that soul. And that's partly what the psychoanalysts laid out. And I think Jung did that most effectively. If you want to establish values in the face of the death of the past, which is something that's happened many times, not merely in the late 19th century, you have to look inside and discover what those values are. And that is truly a process of discovery. Like, to find out what's meaningful in your life is to take yourself seriously as a mystery. It's like there is something that will grip you. And it might not even be what you choose. In fact, sometimes it's not what you now and then you fall in love with the wrong person. You go home and you tear your hair out. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? How can I do this? It's like, well, you're pulled by forces that are beyond your control. They're deeply enmeshed inside you. You have to discover who you are. And you do that partly in university, you do that partly with literature, and you do that partly with dreams and visions and all of the acts of the imagination. And you negotiate with yourself to find out where are the values, where is firm ground for me, and how can I launch myself forward. And that is an archaeological expedition, because you are excavating the values of the past, even if you're doing that psychologically. Now, hopefully, if you're in a great university, you do that in tandem with excavating the values of the past intellectually. And so then there's a dance between your own soul, your own imaginative soul, and the manifestations of the soul across time. It speeds your development along, but it's still a matter of discovering what it means to be human. And that's not something that's simply invented. It's not that at all. You only believe that if you want to remake men and women in the image of your ideology. It's like you're something you have to contend with. Just like if you have a partner, a romantic partner, it's like they're there. You have to contend with them. You have to negotiate a solution. You have to jointly establish your values on some real basis, and you have to do the same thing with yourself. And the idea will be, and I believe this to be true, is that when you discover what your values are, you'll find an affinity between those values and the great ideas of the past. Because why wouldn't you? They were also produced by human beings who were struggling. And then you get a concordance between your soul and the past. And then you've started to become who you actually are. You know, you've reinvigorated the dead father and incorporated it. And that makes you who you could be. And that makes you able to live. And that's a good replacement. Well, it's not even a replacement. It's a rediscovery of the original doctrine. And so we can't let this go. Because the alternative is a nihilism that turns into something catastrophic, or an ideology that's a weak replacement. It's still a religion, it's just an unbelievably shallow and unidimensional religion with none of the grandeur, none of the transcendence, none of the mystery, none of the beauty, none of that. It's just stripped bare, fragmentary religion that you can understand in a week and then convince yourself of the superiority of your arrogant intellect. It's not helpful. So, the Jungian critique, Freud as well. No, you can't create your own values. You have to discover who you are. And you do that painfully because you're not your own puppet. You have a nature. And you have to act in accordance with that. And so, well, so that's your destiny if you choose to accept it. Mission impossible. Yeah.